So, good morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining us on the Wednesday of Research Week 2024. My name is Fran Callaghan, and I am the Assistant Librarian with responsibility for digital publishing and data services here in MU Library. This morning, I will be presenting along with my colleague, Suzanne Redmond Maloco, on the green route to open access, that is, the repository route. In the first half of the session, I will be focusing on rights retention, which enables green open access, and then handing over to Suzanne for the second half, focusing on MURAL, our institutional repository, which realizes open access. As this is a two-hander, we will answer all questions at the end. Please do feel free to answer questions into chat as they arise, and we will address them all together at the end of the presentation. So, what is rights retention? Copyright is applied automatically and at no cost to many different types of creative work, whether that be poetry, prose, software, or journal articles. Where articles differ, however, is during the publication process. Typically, at point of acceptance, an author will sign a copyright transfer agreement, transferring all rights exclusively to the publisher. This limits what the author can now do with their own work, inhibiting even sharing the work with peers or their students. Rights retention aims to address this imbalance. With rights retention, certain rights are retained over a specific copy of the work, called the author-accepted manuscript. Often referred to as a preprint, the author-accepted manuscript, or AAM for short, is the author's own version of the work, complete with all peer review changes and corrections, but without the formatting, typesetting, and logos added by the publisher during the publication process. This important distinction can be seen here, with the AAM on the left and the publisher's copy of record on the right. Both copies are word for word identical, the only difference being the more attractive aesthetics of the publisher copy. Retaining rights over this copy allows the author to apply a Creative Commons license to it. And this, in conjunction with uploading it to your institutional repository, complies with all funder mandates in addition to MU's own policy. This is fulfilling the OA requirement via what is known as the green route. So, just how useful and important is rights retention? Well, as already discussed, Maynooth University has an open access policy which underlines our commitment to strive for 100% open access for all outputs from all our research staff. Additionally, all major funders now have open access requirements for 100% of their funded outputs. That's a requirement. However, publisher policies often make fulfilling these requirements difficult, if not impossible, leaving the researcher in a limbo where all requirements simply cannot be met. Of course, there are alternatives to green open access, but these alternatives are not always applicable or available. Gold open access is expensive, with fees averaging around €3,000 per article. Whilst many funders, particularly Plan S funders, will financially support publishing in gold OA titles, this support doesn't always extend to the full fee, leaving project or worse still personal funds to make up the gap. The so-called transformative agreements that offer fee waivers can be limited by the titles included or the number of waivers available in a calendar year. Many authors applying in the latter part of the year can be left disappointed. Furthermore, the disciplinary coverage of the agreements can vary, and funders will only financially support fees in transformative titles under very specific circumstances, i.e. where the title has committed to fully transform to gold open access in a reasonable time. Green OA, with rights retention and your repository, is not limited by the amount of articles ingested. It has no cost to the author and is supported and mediated by our expert repository staff. Now the important bit, how do you apply rights retention? Well, before you submit, or perhaps even before you write the article, you can determine if a publisher will refuse to publish an article for which you have retained rights. Coalition S, the International Alliance of Research Funders behind rights retention, have contacted all the major funders notifying them of their requirement for their funded research to be made immediately open access, and the rollout of the rights retention strategy. Their journal checker tool will help you identify if and how a publisher complies with their OA mandate. Alternatively, they have provided a letter template in which you can query the publisher directly. Both of these resources are linked here, and both are covered in our rights retention guide on the library website. Then, at the time of submission, you can use the submission cover letter template, also available from Coalition S, to notify your publisher that a Creative Commons license will be applied to your author-accepted manuscript, and you can now freely and legally upload the AAM to MURAL on acceptance. Rights retention is still a bit scary, though, and that's natural because we are addressing the power imbalance in our relationship with our publisher. In order to lead on this, Coalition S has already contacted 150 of the world's leading publishers, outlining their position and asking publishers to clarify their own. Coalition S represents the vast bulk of European funding agencies, including the European Commission, Science Europe, UKRI, and our own Science Foundation Ireland, now renamed to Research Ireland. In addition to Coalition S, already mentioned, the European University Association, CESAR, which is the Conference of European Schools in Engineering, and UNESCO have all endorsed and adopted the rights retention strategy. Indeed, the European University Association has promoted rights retention adoption locally, leading to MU releasing a statement in support of rights retention. Of publishers, both Sage and Emerald have agreed to allow author self-archiving without embargo, essentially agreeing to the strategy. Whilst only 2 journal titles, not publishers, individual journals, have explicitly said that they will not publish an article that has an open license pre-applied to it. Finally, before I hand over to Suzanne, I just want to point to some useful links and resources, including our own LibGuide and my own contact details for anyone wishing to follow up with me offline. And now I'll hand over to Suzanne. If I can stop sharing. There we go.
Thanks, Fran. Hi, my name is Suzanne Redmond Maloco, and I'm the Institutional Repository Manager from MURAL. I'm just really going to follow up on what and reiterate what Fran has been saying and giving you some examples. So let me start sharing. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Great, thanks, Mel. Okay, so moving on from Fran's talk, I just want to look at the very romantic title of Embracing Mural. But really what I want to do is jog your memories about MURAL. Everybody knows about MURAL or should know about MURAL, and it's our institutional repository. So it's the Maynooth University Research Archive Library. So what I'm going to really just brush upon is like looking at our LibGuides, looking at kind of, access, dissemination of your work, and looking at kind of some of the examples from the Research Information System and MURAL and the connection between the two of them. So just to give you a little bit of background to MURAL. So it was founded over 22 years ago, which is not today nor yesterday, and I've been with it from the very beginning. It's run using open source software, ePrint software, and as Fran reminded me the other day, it might be open software, ePrint software, but I mean, there's a lot of work in the background and kind of resources that we have actually put into it. So it's the first repository in Ireland, which was an amazing achievement. It started off as a small little project, and it suddenly became very much a service from the library. It was originally funded by the Maynooth Publications Committee, which gave us 200 quid, which at that time was like a great little kind of, amount of money. And then we were able to buy a server for that, which, yeah, I don't think we will be able to do now. It was officially launched in 2008 at the IRL Open Project in Trinity, where the seven universities at the time were able to get together and launch it officially. At the time, in our repository, there was only, in 2008, there was only 360 items, which, even then was great, but nothing much like now. Whereas the other day I was looking at some of our statistics and there was over 18,000 items, which is, all Maynooth research output, which is just fantastic. We work very closely with the research department here in Maynooth and working with them to integrate the research information system with MURAL. We found that the role of the library has increased, and what we're looking at is that how we advertise and how we encourage, advise, help people deposit, that's my dog, by the way, sorry, and review, check copyright, and this is very important, and this is done in the background, and then help preserve the research output from Maynooth University. And here we are. Here's our repository. It's our website. It's crisp and clean and extremely easy to use. So what I'm going to look at is really the top bar there, which Fran has mentioned about our LibGuides. So with the thanks of Adele King and Kieran Quinn, our research support librarian, they helped me put this together, and just a little word of thanks to them. So looking at the MURAL LibGuide, it gives you all the information that you need to look at, and some extra little bits too. So why you should deposit, how to cite from MURAL, like looking at the copyright and licensing agreements, and then just general kind of, guides how to use it. But it's very simple, very straightforward. So what I did was I decided to take two examples. One's the first one, and thanks to Ian Marder for allowing me to use his profile. So this is Ian's profile on our Maynooth University website. So if you look up a staff member, you get this information. So you'll get a biography about him, you get a little bit of kind of information about him, and you get a list of his publications. And I'm just wondering and hoping that you understand that your publications should be up to date in the research information system. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen there, you can't see them very clearly, but it's a list of his publications, and I've only chosen a few there. But the most important thing is that once they're in RIS, they will be made available in MURAL. And we do all of that in the background. I'm very lucky to have two extremely super helpers and editors, Laura and Bridie, and they both work half-time with MURAL. And this is what we do in the background. We make them available in MURAL. So as you can see there from Ian's publications in MURAL, there's his listings, and so one marries the other. So as Fran mentioned about the policy, the MU policy, and basically in this information, we also have the kind of how to marry the two, the research information system and MURAL. So it's the preferred route to go via RIS. But if you don't, it's no problem for us. That's up to yourselves. But from our point of view, you can directly deposit into MURAL as well, and we will always be there to help you. Again, we're looking at the open access policy here in Maynooth that was revised in 2021. This policy has been there since 2008 when we started off. It was revised in 2017, and then it went under a second revision in 2021. It's not going to be looked at again until maybe 2025, 2026. So this is in situ, and it's so important. And the most important line there is that all research and scholarly publications which arise in whole or in part of research carried out in the university and subject to the copyright and archiving policies of the publisher be made available at the earliest possible date through MURAL. So this is a policy that is already in situ. Also, as Fran mentioned, there's a huge amount of research funders that their policies include, the open access route, the green open access route. And here it can be found, and all the information on research funders can be found on Kieran Quinn's Research Support Librarian LibGuide. And you can see there at the top of the screen, Research Funders Open Access Policies Database, and it gives you a link to all the policies there. But if you need any further information or still worried about it, contact Kieran or myself. So I'm going back a little bit, and I wanted to look at Ian's publications in his research information system. So I just picked a few, and I wanted to show you what the differences are that we're looking at within his profile. So as you can see from the top publication there, you have a kind of a dead DOI. The second one, you have a link and a DOI. Now, those links won't work if we do not have a subscription. The library does not have a subscription to those journals. So they could be dead links. They could be not persistent identifiers. But the most important thing there is, as you can see at the end of each, is a link to the full text. And that's where Mural jumps in. So if you click on the full text, and I've chosen the first one there from Ian's publications, this is what you get when you go into the full text in Mural. Very straightforward, all the bibliographic details that you need, all the information you need, with a link to the download. There's also a little bit more information in it, as in you can see the abstract. You can also see what type of item it is, the keywords that are very easy to use and find this item using Google, where the department that the person has submitted them from, and you will see the journal title and the publisher. We also give a link to the publisher because you might have suddenly found your perfect journal and want to look up more details. And this is all available straight from the first page in Mural. Then just a few nice little things that we go upon now. Yeah, Ian's item was literally only submitted there the other day. So the downloads aren't that great at the moment, but you have the first statistics, you have information of the downloads. You have information on the origins of the downloads, which can be very useful. And also you can see the altmetrics, and this can be very handy. It's very handy for us to see what is happening with items that are made available in Mural. And we do look at a lot of statistics. And there, as we know, this is really important for our rankings too. So that's the first page that you go into when you look at the full text. But if you want to just fly through that and go straight to the article, there you go. There it is, all available, easy peasy. So that's it. I'm looking at my Bible here, and this is just something that any institution, repository, manager, editor, user just finds so handy. So I looked at the Journal of Further and Higher Education again. I picked that up from Ian's first article there. And it gives you some information that we need when we're making the metadata perfect for Mural. So we're looking at the ISSN, we're looking at the publisher link, which we make available, and the publisher's name then. We're also really interested in this whole open access publisher policy, which really is important to us because I know that, we say that there's certain publishers that will make, open access, green open access, this, that, and the other. But we actually go in on a case-by-case basis. We don't leave it up to just a kind of, a round explanation of this. What we look at is the individual journals. So we can see by this that the published version can be made available in any website or journal website. And that covers us. We're delighted with that. So what happens when you're gone? As I say, when you're gone, you're gone. So we say bye-bye, and we say, what happens to your profile when you leave Maynooth? What happens to all your publications? Well, your research information profile is gone. Once you've been lucky to retire early or go or move to another institution, your research information profile is gone from the Maynooth website. But it's not gone from Mural. And I just want to take an example of this and show you. So Professor Martin Downes retired a few years ago, a prolific writer in from the Biology Institute. So his web profile now just shows his information because he's an emeritus professor. Nothing, his picture is there, nothing much information about him. His publications are gone, his biography is gone, end of story. But in Mural, we have preserved all his publications and they're available. So this is really important that the Maynooth research output is preserved in Mural. There's also another issue with this, and I'm saying don't worry. I was talking to John Ringwood the other day, who is one of our top Maynooth researchers. So don't worry if it's not all on research information systems. We will help you find and make sure that your items are deposited in Mural. So John has set up his own website, which has all his papers in it. And what we've done is that even though his main profile is not up to date or in the research information system, we've made sure that it's as up to date as possible within Mural. So for just a small few publications and risks, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see it, but there's 432 items authored and co-authored by John Ringwood in Mural. And this is hugely important to him because like he's traveling with his electronic engineering and oceanographics department, that he has access to his items no matter where he is in the world. So this is perfect for him. And we go and we find them, we submit them on behalf of the author to Mural. And the background work is that we check all the copyright policies, the correct metadata, and we make it available. I'm just on a kind of a side note, looking at kind of, have you spotted anything like this? Just in case you don't realize, we have a great Twitter account, and everything that we make available in Mural, we tweet. So it's or I should call it X, but so that is available in Mural, and we in the background do this. Also on the front page of the Maynooth University website, you can see under the research that the repository publications. So everything that is submitted into Mural on the day that it has been submitted, it is actually displayed on the front screen of the Maynooth University website. So that's just a few little tips there. So just to say to you, that's me. I have two great editors, Laura and Bridie. If you want to contact us at any stage, the best way is to contact us through our generic email address. That means that somebody will pick it up immediately. Also, try follow us with Mural on the X account, because it's, as I said, what we do is that we tweet everything that we make available, be it an article, a thesis, a conference paper, we tweet them all. Just as a kind of a little thanks at the end, there's Fran Callaghan, who is my head of department, and Fiona Morley, who is head of our section. And without them and their support, I suppose that most importantly, Mural has a little team together, and we hope that it will be supported for a long, long time. Just one further note before I go back to Heidi, is that I want to give a plug in to our pop-up stand, which is going to be in the foyer of the library tomorrow after the launch of the strategic plan by Cahill, our university librarian. So I will be down in the foyer, and if you have any further questions, or if you want to have a look at your profile, or really want to have a look at what you have available in Mural, come and talk to me. And on that note, Heidi, I am going to stop sharing.